Hi, and welcome back to I Was Thinking. I'm Nafis.
I'm Simone.
And I'm Macy.
And yeah.
Oh, we still have to master that.
Why are we so bad at this?
It's like hesitation looking at each other.
I'll discuss this later. Maybe we need to say our names first and then the program. I was going to say the episode.
Okay.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. And it's I Was Thinking. How's everyone doing? I hope better than me.
All right.
Listen, it's been a struggle, okay?
I get it. The struggle is real. Yeah. Adulting is hard.
God.
Adulting is so hard,
we have to do this every day. But yeah.
Yeah. Spring break is in 2 weeks, so I'm elated that's coming up soon.
I don't get the joys of like spring breaks and summer breaks anymore.
Right.
So I can't. I'm happy for you. Exactly. I really did.
Because I don't have to deal with people. I can just be in my bed, do my own thing. It's beautiful.
Nice. Well, today, guys, if you haven't seen the title, we're doing another movie review.
Yay!
Studio audience clap, please.
And this movie, we're getting a little saucy. Yes, I am the one that picked this out. So I don't know how Macy and the Feast feel, but we'll see. Because I was curious, okay? I remember seeing the promotion, I saw the title, and I was like, Love and Leashes. A Korean movie about BDSM? I have to watch this. I'm sorry. My interest was kind of like, the question mark was up there. And then I texted them, and then I feel like I was being judged through text message when I suggested doing this movie.
I don't judge you for watching it. I saw a lot of clips on TikTok, and I'm like, all right then. And I didn't necessarily consider watching it, but when you suggested it, I'm like, I would be willing to try it. I'm just like, should we talk about that? Is that is like our kind of podcast topic?
Yeah.
But because I don't know what, I mean, our demographic is like younger adult women, right? Mostly.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Yeah.
Our demographic is, I think it's mostly like our age women.
Yeah.
So, we're grown-ups.
I was gonna say, Macy, why are you talking like we're like...
No, yeah, that's what I mean. I'm like, well, that's why I questioned it. I'm like, is it appropriate for our audience? But then I thought about it when you texted us. I'm like, yeah, pretty much, because it's people our age, so it's fine.
Yeah, and I'll put the little explicit content warning as well. Mm-hmm. So I don't think we're gonna get that,
Yeah.
We're already awkward talking about this right now, aren't we?
Right. I kind of had a similar reaction too. Like, I had already seen the trailer for it, and I'm like, oh, interesting. But I knew it was something I wasn't going to watch. But then you text, you're like, let's discuss this, guys. I'm like, okay.
Okay, honestly, too, it's just because this was a newer movie, and like, I want to do a show, but I just haven't had time to like sit down and process my notes and thoughts to discuss a TV show. So I was like, I need to do another movie. And then I wanted to watch this, and I didn't think I would have watched it on my own, honestly. So I was like, if Macy and the Feast want to discuss this with me on the podcast, then I have an excuse to watch it. And I'm just curious. I feel like it'd be a good discussion. So, in comparison.
Right.
So, I know Macy was like, she didn't have anything to compare this with, but...
Not really, because even I haven't seen the sensation that is 50 Shades of Grey, so I never read the books or saw the movies. So that's literally the only other film I can even think of, and I didn't see it, so I have no reference point for if this is, like, more over the top, less over the top, is,
Well, it's definitely not more over the top.
Well...
Yeah, definitely not. I was reading a Reddit about the movie, and they were comparing it to 50 Shades of Grey, and they're like, oh, this is a much more healthier outlook of what that is. And I was like, okay, that's good to know.
I mean, that would make sense, because I feel like 50 Shades was almost kind of like showing this in a negative light to where
Yeah.
that movie was more like abusive in a way, and it's kind of like a bad stigma of this practice. So
right, that's why I always avoided watching it, because of that particular reason, because people said that it was more on the like abusive side. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound fun. I don't want to watch that. So
yeah, and can you even really compare them too much? Because it's almost, well, I don't know. I was going to say like culture differences as well in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it's still sort of a taboo topic here.
Yeah.
But like more and more people are talking about it now.
Plus we talk about it more freely here, I think. Like, yeah, there's judgment, but we still aren't afraid to talk about it. So when it comes to that type of topics.
It's similar to like mental health. Like there's no shame in it. You know, I I have always said that I'm like a really sex positive person, and as long as you're not hurting anybody, I'm all for it. But I think we're trained in our brains that it's like supposed to be like behind closed doors, so we can't talk about it, along with like mental health issues. And we're finally seeing that more, like people speaking out about it. So I think it's similar. Like there's no reason to be ashamed of it.
Yeah, because even with this movie, I mean, like, I don't feel like, I mean, we can discuss this later when we start talking about the movie, but I don't feel like anything was wrong. They were both consenting adults. He was searching for another consensual adult to do this with, so I didn't see the harm in it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's why, like, they were saying that it was a healthier outlook, because they made it seem like another normal thing that people do. Instead of it, but it could be abusive though. Don't get me wrong, like it can be.
Of course, this could be like with anything, people,
but and they kind of showed that with her friend towards like the end.
Yes.
But overall, they had like a very open-minded, positive outlook on it, which was interesting to see.
Yeah, which I enjoyed. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the movie, shall we? I'm just going to say this now. I'm sorry in advance if I butcher the Korean language, like I've been doing. I'm trying. And also just because this is in a language that, I mean, the three of us watched Korean, shows, but like we discussed when we did the Bollywood one, some things could be lost in translation. So we are like, as far as our understanding, going off of like the English translations and maybe some understanding of some Korean words we know. Just in case we talk about something and it was like mistranslated or wasn't translated correctly. I just felt like I should say that. So, but yeah.
Be warned.
Yeah, be warned.
Yeah, be warned.
And I'm going to be doing a lot of talking again. Y'all know how that goes.
It's okay. It makes for great content.
My stumbling makes for great content. Thanks, Nafis.
That's not what I said. I said our rants lead to other conversations, which leads to great content. Yeah.
It's all jokes. It's all jokes. It's all love here. Okay. Let's get started. Right. So, as we said, Love and Leashes is a Korean movie that was released on February 11th, 2022 on Netflix as a Netflix original. So I feel like this is our first, like, media that we're doing that's, like, fairly recent. Because I feel like all the other ones we've done so far have been, like...
older.
Yeah, older. Yeah. So, Love and Leashes, or if you see it in Hangul and... the webtoon that is based off, because this is actually based off a romance webtoon created by, so I didn't know which author's name is correct, because a couple of them, and on Webtoons itself, it says created by Winter, and then when I go on other websites, like where they have free, what do they call them? They call them something else, and I'm forgetting the word for them. They're not called web comics, they're called something. It's gonna bother me. Anyway, I found another name, Gyol. So I don't know if this is the same person, and like on Webtoon and the other sites, they're just different names. I'm not sure, but it's created by either Winter or Gyol. But in English, it's called Love and Leashes. In Hangul, it's called Moru Sensu, which is just mortal sense, or the sensual M. And the original, the original. So if you, even on the movie, like the movie posters of promotions, it'll say, the Hangul says Moro Sensu. So I don't know where they got Love and Leashes from that, but sure. I won't question it.
But, that's kind of like with a lot of Korean titles. Like it'll say one thing and then the English would be completely different.
Like, All of Us Are Dead. The Korean title, I think, what was it? I'm trying to think if I remember it off the top of my head. I think it was Chigum Uri Hakyonun, which I don't get where they got All of Us Are Dead from. Because the Korean one, if loosely translated, is like, This Is Our School Now, or something along those sense. Like, but I also found it on I also found it on the webtoon, and the webtoon itself says All of Us Are Dead. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, the original Korean webtoon first premiered on something I found called Comico, but I don't think it existed anymore because I tried to click on the link and it told me like basically it doesn't exist. And then it premiered on Naver. So it premiered on March 19th, 2015, and it concluded on August 24th, 2018. And it has 147 episodes / chapters in total. On webtoons, they're called episodes instead of chapters. So, on the international side of Webtoon, the English version actually just started being released on February 10th, 2022. So a day before the film adaptation was released on Netflix.
I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't make it into a TV show.
I'm actually happy they didn't make it into a TV show.
I didn't think it needed to be that long.
Yeah. Just like our short attention spans now. And like, I actually did start reading the webtoons. I'm only on episode like 6 now because the way they're releasing it, you have to have like, it's where for free, they only release it once a day. So like a daily pass, or you can use coins. So you have to buy with money to, you know, open up more chapters. But as I'm reading it, because, you know, it's more in detail than the movie, I was like, yeah, I'm actually happy they made this into a 2-hour movie instead of like a 10 episode K-drama. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's true. It definitely leaves more room for detail.
Exactly. I think it's a lot better as a movie.
And I'm not sure if Korea's ready for all that, or if we are.
I don't know. Good question. Something we can't answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I didn't really like the synapse that Webtoon and Netflix kind of gave, because I don't feel like it gave a good like description of the whole movie. Well, not of the whole movie, but just like what the movie's about. So I found a website, and I can link it a little later when this is posted on Asian Wiki. So basically their synopsis says Jung Ji-woo works for a large corporation in the PR department. And I think their job has to do with like marketing. It's for like a web series, and I think it's a children's web series if you pay attention, because they have to deal with like cartoon characters. And I know there's one scene where they hold like an event selling stuff, and there's a bunch of like families, so children and mothers there. So I think they're part of the marketing team for an online children's show. So she expresses being interested in her coworker named Jung Ji-woo in a romantic way, but she doesn't know how to express it. There's a joke at the beginning that their names sound similar if you couldn't hear it when I said it. I know I'm not speaking it properly, and a real person who could speak Korean properly, you would be able to hear it. But that's the joke of this, because one day Ji-woo receives a package that was intended for her coworker Ji-woo, but there was a mix-up due to their similar names. So when Ji-woo opens the package, she sees a dog leash and a collar in the box. And at the time, Jung Ji-woo runs over, tells her that it's his package. The dog leash is actually intended for S&M use and belongs to Jung Ji-woo. He tells Ji-woo about his S&M fetish and his interest in playing a submissive role. Ji-woo doesn't pass judgment on him, which touches him and leads him to ask her to be his master, leading them into creating a temporary, non-sexual BDSM relationship for 3 months. So that's basically the whole premise of the whole movie.
You know, this movie would not have existed if he just received his mail at his house. Just saying.
Yes, and that's where it kind of gets confusing, because it doesn't, like in the movie, it doesn't talk about, so in the webcomic, they both still live with their parents. So that's probably why he didn't want it delivered at his house and thought it'd be safer to be delivered at his job. And I think in his old position, because he got transferred from the business department to the marketing department, he might have been the only person with that name there. So it was safer. until he
Right.
moved there. And, you know, like I said, there's similar names. That's how the mix-up happened. So, because in the movie, they don't like say if he still lives with his parents or not. In the movie, we know she still lives with her mom. But
yeah, we don't see his parents at all, and he's by himself
No.
in his apartment, so I would imagine
Yeah.
he doesn't live with them.
yeah, so like he could have had it delivered to his house to make it safer. But where would the movie have come from?
That makes too much sense.
Exactly.
It
Wow.
makes too much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so the film adaptation was directed and written by Park Hyun-jin. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about the cast. So Jung Ji-woo is played by Seohyun, or Seohyun, who I didn't know this. K-pop fans don't come for me, is a member of Girls' Generation. So...
Oh, she did look super familiar, but I did
Yeah.
not know that. I'm like, why have I seen her before?
You might have seen her in an old Girls' Generation music video. I don't know. I definitely did not recognize her, but I also haven't watched a lot of Girls' Generation, like, music videos or songs.
yeah.
So that's why I said K-pop fans, especially second gen, don't come for me.
I actually didn't recognize her until I read the description. I'm like,
Because
oh,
how many
okay.
how many
Yeah.
are in Girls' Generation? Isn't there like 9 of them? Or
There's
were
a lot
9 of them? There's quite a few.
Yeah, I don't know much about them. I just knew that I had seen her before, but I didn't put the pieces together because I don't really follow Girls' Generation or know their names or anything. So,
I only know Taeyeon,
No.
and that's just because she still makes music, so... But yes. So that's our lead actress. Jung Ji-hoo is played by Jun or Lee Jun-Young, who I guess is also another idol. He was a member of the boy band U-Kiss. And I know U-Kiss is a little bit older. So we had 2 former idol leads in this movie, guys.
Again, did not know he was an idol either.
I didn't know that either, and I haven't heard of that group.
Yeah.
I've heard of that group. I couldn't tell you a song. I just know when I used to listen to Eric Nam's podcast, he had a friend named Kevin who I guess was also a member in U-Kiss that came on once. So that's the only reason I know about that group.
Oh, okay.
Right. I was going to bring up, do you think, I know they're both like kind of not performing anymore, but do you think I feel like this would be kind of a risky role for an idol to take?
Like a
You know what I
current
mean?
idol?
Yeah.
That's true, actually. I didn't think about that.
Like, because it's a more taboo subject, do you think it's riskier for their careers and their like images as an idol?
Yeah, especially the ways idols are like marketed as well.
Like, they
it
are
definitely would have been.
sexualized, but not in that manner. Like,
Isn't that weird? Like they're sexualized, but then like they're not sexualized. Like if you embrace their sexualization,
like don't talk about it. Like they're innocent. They can't date. They're innocent, but we're gonna sexualize them anyway and show their bodies off and whatnot. But they can't have relationships or actual sex. We don't talk about that.
Look at you, Macy.
So.
You're breaking the code. Because that's a true point. That's very valid. So I don't know. And you would have to think like what type of idols. Obviously, it has to be the older idols because, you know, idols being debuted now are a lot younger. So you have to think the ones that are around our age and like the 3rd and 2nd generation groups. But like also I feel like a lot of those groups have older fans like us. So maybe it wouldn't have been that bad. I really don't know.
Right.
I couldn't tell
like,
you.
As an example, like Jin-Young, he's an idol that is still kind of active, even though their group disbanded, and he's acting. If he had taken a role like this, do you think it would have affected his, like, GOT7 fan base at all?
Well, do you think it would? Because you're more of like an Agase than I am, so...
I wouldn't affect my perception of him, but I don't know about the rest of the fandom.
True. And that'd also be like what the difference between international fans and Korean fans too, you have to think.
But I also don't like the stereotype that they can't have relationships either. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I personally know it would not affect my thought, but I know that I feel like K-pop idols can get in controversy at the drop of a hat. So like, I think if I were him, I wouldn't take that risk.
I get that. It probably is better since they're both kind of like, they've been acting more. They're a little bit older, that they don't really have to think. I mean, I feel like it was still a risk either way. But if they were still active in their groups, I see where you're talking about. Because idols, I know for a fact, idols and like actors are treated completely differently over there. So like actors, people don't really care about all the stuff you just said, but idols, they do. Why? I don't know. They just do.
Right. I mean, it's a risk. It's a risk for any actor too, though, because once you play a certain role, I feel like a lot of times, like the really popular actresses and actors you see, they get roped into a certain type of character, and you don't necessarily want to like limit yourself to like, oh, this is the character I play. I can only play that type of character. So I feel like taking on such a taboo subject in society can limit you. It can be a risk, no matter who you are. But,
yeah, I mean, just look at, I feel like you could say that of like actors here. Like, look at Tobey Maguire. I feel like people still see him as Spider-Man. I mean, it doesn't help. He just played Spider-Man recently,
it's like his face
it's
now.
like you pay,
like that's who he is.
play like such a major role. No one is going to see you besides that role.
You're always going to be compared to that one. So like, I feel like it's a risk because now they're always going to be compared to this role because it's probably the most.
I actually really don't feel like it, especially I don't feel like this movie is big enough for that. It has gotten attraction, but I don't think it's as popular to where they have to worry about that. And I feel like our minds kind of just like, I don't know. I don't feel like.
I think if this was a show, it probably would have had a more negative effect on them. But since it's just a movie, I don't think so.
I hope it doesn't, but I'm just, it is a question that I thought of. I'm like, is this going to affect future casting for them?
And honestly, I haven't really seen that many bad reviews on this movie. Like when I was doing my research, a lot of people actually really like it. And it's actually gotten pretty good like reviews. As far as ratings and everything, so
it's well done in my opinion.
It is. So I don't think they really have to worry about that. Personally, if it was viewed more negatively, then yeah, I could see that. But as far as just me observing the reviews, seeing like I haven't read any like too many articles about people's opinions, but so far I haven't really heard anything too bad about this. So if anything, it seems like more people are open to these type of subjects being talked about in like TV shows and movies. So yeah. Let me go ahead because I wrote down the other characters. They're not as big as the two I just mentioned because those are two leads. I just wanted to bring up the character Hyemi, who is, I think, Ji-Yoon's friend. She's the one who owns the dog cafe. And I guess later on, you also find out she is part of this community, who is played by E.L. That's her name, or Kim Ji-hyun. Hoo-hyuk, which is the guy who works under her and has a big crush on her, is played by Lee Seohyun. Jung Ji-woo's mother is played by Baekhyun-ju, which I loved her mom, by the way. The small parts we saw her in, she always made me laugh. And the ex-girlfriend of Jung Ji-woo, which is Hana, who is played by Kim Bora. And I have some words for that character later. Actress did a great job because,
for some reason.
Oh God, I got some things to say about her later on. But yeah, those are, I feel like, our main really cast that we focus on this movie. So let's go ahead and start off at the beginning when we get the introduction of Jung Ji-woo being introduced to the office and the team since he's being transferred, like I said earlier, from the business department. They're having a meeting and boss is already being sexist.
I hate that. Yay! I immediately didn't like him. I'm like, oh, here we go again.
Oh my God.
Stereotypical male in business setting that can't respect somebody else because she just happens to be a woman. Here we go again.
Yes, and talking sense. So
original.
So there, I mean, it's not like it's not original, but it still happens.
I know.
It's annoying that it happens at all.
Right.
Exactly. So they're talking about a company dinner to have for you, which I guess is think in Korea. Like sometimes when I watch those things, I'm like, wow, you guys actually not hang out with your coworkers, but you guys hang out with your coworkers.
Yeah, like a welcome party. Mm.
Right. I never got a welcome party at any place that
I've
have worked at.
The only thing I've ever experienced is I've been taken out to lunch on my last day at a job.
See, I hadn't even gotten that.
Yeah.
I had them buy me like a sandwich because I was leaving at my last job. And I think a card and a cupcake, which is still nice, but at the same time, you know, I don't know. Anyway.
I feel like they portray it like any excuse to go eat and drink in K-dramas. Like, oh, you got...
New person, let's go drink!
Yeah. Any kind of achievement whatsoever. Let's go eat something.
Oh, you guys got a new dog? Cool, let's go drink! Anyway. Ju brings up the fact once the boss said all that, they maxed out the company's credit card as well as an issue that they're having with a YouTuber for the channel that I guess they want to try to have come on there as a guest. And then her boss immediately becomes defensive, goes in the attack of accusing her of bringing the mood down. The YouTuber that she just mentioned has a lot of subscribers. She just doesn't personally like him. But I mean, she also brings up the good point that it may not be smart to have someone who's homophobic on an educational show. And then Ju steps up and tells him to think about the risk factor and the benefits of having the YouTuber for the channel. And the boss goes back on a rant of how Ju needs to be more like him. If she was more polite and talked with a smile, she wouldn't be killing the office.
I knew you were going to have something to say about that.
Being nice and cute can get you a long way, and having teamwork is what keeps a nice work environment, which is hard when there's so many women working in the office. So thoughts, guys.
No, let's hear
if
your
you tell
thoughts.
me to smile, I immediately hate you.
I immediately want to punch him when I saw him say work with a smile. Any women can understand my pain when anybody, especially men, tell you that you need to smile more because you're more approachable. Nafis knows this. I went on a whole rant when a man told me this at my old job.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing anything to you. Mind your damn business. You're lucky I'm trying to help you because I want to keep this job because I need to make money.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that phrase so much. I hate when people tell me I need to smile for them, or if I smile, I'll be more approachable and people would want to talk to me more.
But that's the goal, though. You don't want to be more approachable.
Exactly. Please don't talk to me. But I think it wouldn't be as annoying if it was equally distributed, because I do agree with if I'm trying to go up to someone to help them in a retail environment, I do find that smiling helps, and eye contact. There are certain social cues that you give to people to show that you're willing to help them, but don't tell me to do it because I immediately don't want to do it. And if you're going to tell people to do it, you need to tell it equally. The whole mindset of women should just be quieter and smile and look pretty and you'll get more done is so stupid.
That's just that's my main annoyance with that whole thing. It's just because it's mostly directed to women of telling them, basically everything Macy just said.
Act and look a certain way.
Yes.
Or you won't get anything, where men can just do whatever the heck they want. They can't, but it's portrayed that way.
And sometimes it's mostly applied for we have to do this if we want the male attention, as if that's just our goal in life. It's just to only please men. Yeah. So, which is not. And then his whole rant also about complaining how he works with a bunch of women as if women are incapable of doing their job, or because there's so many women there. He's basically implying women have so many emotions that he just can't keep up, or it makes it unpleasant to work there.
I mean, he could move to a different job.
He could.
You're the odd one out here. Maybe you should leave.
Plus, we also don't know his salary, not to also bring that up. So he could be making more than everybody, and that's why he's not leaving.
He probably
especially
is,
the women there.
He's the manager, right?
Yeah. Online, I said he was the team lead, but he's basically the manager. I'm assuming he's the head of mostly everyone there in the department. So,
which automatically makes him think that he's better than everyone else because he's got a better title.
Because like you see it too if you watch the movie, his reaction when he is talking to Jiwoo, and then if Jiwoo says something, how his mood also automatically changes because he's like, oh, listen to the man, like he knows what he's saying. So,
I think he also has a particular issue with her because she is a stronger woman who refuses to just do what she's told. So like she rivals what he is telling her to do. So it just makes him want to conform her more.
Because then, like, you saw how he changed when Jill was like, oh, you better watch what you're saying to them because telling the IQ and stuff, that can be considered sexual harassment. And he's like, you know, I was testing you. You did a good job.
Yeah. Can't admit
I was just making
wrong.
sure. And I was like, yeah, sure you were, buddy. But anyway.
Sure.
Okay. So, next topic. What did you guys think of the conversation you had about not confessing first? Because, like, so I had to I watched this a couple times, like 2 times. And in the webcomic, you know, because you're reading it, it's obvious that she has a crush on him. I guess she thinks he's handsome. But, like, I didn't realize she actually said, like, she was interested in Jill at first. Because, like, when I was watching this the first time, I was like, wait, where did we get this? But then I realized when I was rewatching it, I was like, oh, she actually does say she likes him. But I mostly bring this up because after all that, when we see the scene where she's, like, in her living room with her mom, and her mom also goes into this thing about how guys have an instinct of, like, wanting to be hunters and basically, like, dominant, which kind of sets the tone for the movie since, like, he's not. Because we find out he likes to be in the submissive role. So, yeah, breaking the stereotypes, basically. So, I don't know. I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts about what her mom was telling her about why she shouldn't tell Ju that she likes him first. Because that is a stigma. Like, I guess it's harder for, not always, but, like, they say women shouldn't approach guys first. You should let the guy come to you.
Yeah, I feel like that's a generational thing.
I think that's changing now, though.
Yeah, because, I agree with that. Because I think, like, a lot of times guys like the confidence of a woman going up to them first. It makes them feel wanted and sought after. So I think that it's more of a generational thing. You know, like her mom is like, that's just how we did things. That's how you win a guy's heart. And it could be a cultural issue as well. Where, like, in our society I would say that it's not great, but we're slightly more on like the girl power vibe, you know what I mean? So it's more encouraged for women to be more outspoken. So I think a combination of cultural differences and generational differences is why her mom's telling her to do it that way instead of how she just wants to do it.
Yeah, it could be a generational thing too, because I feel like if I talk to elders like here too, they would tell me the same thing, to be honest. So I do see it more as like a generational thing.
Yeah, that was the first thing that came to my mind. And then it could be also influenced by the culture, but mainly I think that's just how things were. And when you ask for advice from people who grew up in that time, that's just kind of their automatic response.
Yeah, because I've definitely watched K-dramas where like the woman is like her. They'll go up to the guy first and things like that. Although in some of those dramas, though, it is seen like as a negative thing for her to be doing that. So Feast, did you add anything to add to that?
No, I was just going to say, even though like it's changing now, it's still like a predominant mindset where, you know.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if I would personally
first.
have the confidence to approach someone first just because it's been drilled into my brain that I'm not supposed to.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Right.
So even though I know that it shouldn't be like that, it's, And
I'm just a shy person in general, so.
That too.
I think it's a combination of that being drilled in my head and I'm just like shy.
Right.
And it's hard. Like, you don't know. I don't want to say like the signals, but like sometimes people be giving off mixed signals.
You don't
like
want to
especially
make things awkward, especially in a workplace.
Yes.
You could completely misread it too.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you just look stupid in the end. It's like,
It's all about taking
forget
risks,
everything.
So.
We need those little Men in Black things to like erase your memories.
The penguins, Madagascar. You didn't see anything.
You didn't see anything. Right? I'll chop you in the back of the neck.
That's a ingrained memory for sure. Speaking of things drilled into my brain.
Literally. Okay, so we're going to go now to the tragedy of the mix-up. And he was so close, and he was actually really close to passing it off. Kind of. First he was like, oh, it was for my dog. And he should have just stopped there. And then he's talking about, oh, it's for my 3-year-old poodle. It's like, what? And she was almost going to be like, all right, whatever, dude, until the coupon fell onto the floor.
I really like her, like, kind of almost, like, dry, matter-of-fact kind of way of talking. Like, oh, you're gonna waste the coupon? That's kind of wasteful. Right. Skipping over the fact that what it's for and everything. Like it's completely normal, like, buy one, get one coupon.
I probably would have done the same thing. And I'm like, I mean, that seems like a good deal, bro. Do you not want the coupon? I thought it was funny. And then, like, him confiding in the online chat rooms, which I guess, I don't know if that's a common thing to do, because, like, I don't have...
That is dangerous, though.
You think? It was interesting, because, like, I mean, I'm sure they don't use, like, their real names or anything, but just, like, they type up stuff, and then people will respond with, like, advice. I mean, it kind of makes me think of, like, Reddit. I don't use, like, Reddit. Yeah. Or there's another one that's out there. I forgot the name of it. Starts with a Q. I don't know, but just stuff like that. Kiora? So, yeah, I think it's Kiora. So, it's interesting, because, I mean, I personally never have done stuff.
Yeah, I've never done any kind of online forum. Sometimes if I have I need to ask Google a question, I end up on Reddit in a thread where people are, like, especially with, like, tech questions, like something's wrong with, like, my phone or my computer, I'll go on a Reddit thread trying to fix whatever the problem is, but I've never actually put out a question into the universe or written on any kind of forum, like helping other people make decisions or, asking for advice or anything like that.
Yeah. And then, like, the scene that, like, cracked me up the most when she realized what it was like when she was jogging by the sex shop and, like, she had that, like, little moment of imagining him dominating her before she realized, like, it's the other way around. And then her mom's gonna walk by her and be like, oh, shoot, you see anything you like in there? And then she's like,
buy one for you.
She's like, wait, you want me to go in there and buy it for you? That's why I was like, her mom is awesome.
Talk about a cool mom.
I was like, okay, non-judgmental. We love to see that. Yeah. And parent-child relationship. So I just thought that was a cute scene. I had to bring it up. Because, like, I would never. Yeah.
I like the dynamic they have. Right. I like the dynamic they have because I feel like in a lot of K-dramas more so, like, you don't see as many, like, what I would think, she looks like a single mom to me, first of all. Like, it's usually a mom and a dad, and, like, their child is going through something, and then they, like, look at each other and have a chat after the child's gone, where this is more like they're interacting with each other, and they have more like a friendship relationship, which is kind of nice to see, because I feel like that's a pretty common relationship, but they don't portray it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think about that either, because, like, I mean, we don't know if, like you said, she's a single mom, or, like, maybe the dad passed, or
he passed away, but they don't talk about it. She's just by herself, and it's not an issue. Like, she's not mourning or, like, resentful or anything. She just is a mom and her daughter, and they have a good relationship. Like, there's no need to talk about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, when she is doing her research, what did you guys think about the education you learned of her research of BDSM for not knowing anything? I at least know what they mean in Korea now. Gonna take some notes.
Right. I think I had a basic understanding of it. You know what I mean? I think that just being people of our age living on the internet, I knew, like, some of the terms, and I kind of understand the basis of it. But I thought it was interesting. Learning more.
I thought it was interesting too, because especially with them,
it's way more psychological than I thought it was. Like, I thought it was more like
definitely
physical, like pain or whatever, and then gratification afterwards, where it's like there didn't have anything physical going on. It was purely psychological.
Because that's another thing with this movie. Like, I was surprised because it was, like you were saying, it's more psychological, and it wasn't really as sexual as, like, not we're taught But when you think about this, that's what your mind kind of goes, because like you said, like people online talk about this and they make it that way, or like, yeah. I was going to say something else, but I was like, no, Simone, don't.
It always seemed very forceful to me, like from an outside perspective, where this movie turned it around and more of like a, like he just, like he says, like, I'm tired of being like this tough man. I just want to be more vulnerable and like give in to certain things. So I thought that was interesting, because I always thought it was more like of an aggressive, like forceful type of like relationship, where this kind of changed my mind on that. I'm like, okay, maybe it's more like giving and receiving and like relieving those kinds of feelings, rather than just pure like I just want to hurt somebody because it makes me feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go ahead and go where they're finally actually are having a company party, and everything's great. And then when Ju is about to leave to go get a taxi, she hears whimpering. And I don't know if she thought it was... I'll talk about that in a second. But I guess I don't know if he was upset. Like, he thought Ju was ignoring him because he thought that she thought he was a pervert, because he later reveals that like that's what his ex-girlfriend thought, and that's why she broke up with him. But then, of course, once she comforts him, and then he asks her to be his master, and then she says no at first, which I guess, it's kind of
Makes
reasonable,
sense.
Especially because he thought, I guess, she was in the practice this whole time when she wasn't. But then when I was rewatching it, I was like, I kind of wonder if she said yes because she saw those girls flirting with him in the office.
I think so.
And I think so too. And then she
think
decides
so.
to create
Yeah.
the contract. She's like, you know what? Maybe I will take this. Let me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like partly jealousy and then partly just pure curiosity, because she's obviously
'cause, yeah.
curious.
Before he even like brought that up of like asking her to be the master, you could tell she was already being curious. She was doing research on this on her own and like thinking about it. So I think it's a combination of both, but I think what really pushed her was watching those girls flirt with him in the office. And she's like, okay, that's not how he really is. Let's see what I can bring to the
experiment.
table. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it'll be a chance to get closer to him because I already have a crush on him.
Yeah.
So, and then the first play session at the hotel. That was interesting. I'm already going to say this now. I don't like that pet play. That is kind of weird to me.
I did laugh out loud though when she's like, soon, and he's like,
like money. And he's just like, he seems so like content when he had his head in her lap.
Yeah.
And then like when she was feeding him, but the thing that got me was like next door when the other couple was they were being so loud when they were having sex, and he just starts barking at them. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, that was the only scene that I felt I could feel myself cringing a little bit. I'm like, oh no.
It was bad. And then the hotel person's going to be like, we got a complaint from this room. I'm like, complain about the people having really loud, obnoxious sex right next to us.
Right, not the dog barking.
Right, and then when the guy was yelling at him and he's like, this dog is talking back to me. It's like, that's because it's a human, but you don't know that.
I can't imagine like the behind the scenes of these scenes.
Oh, I wonder how many takes they had to do on that. That I wouldn't have stopped laughing. He was too good at barking, too.
Right? He had practice.
He practiced.
Yeah, I did see one behind the scenes clip of them when they're like tearing the office apart, and like she rips the shred of papers and it like lands on his head, and they like crack up laughing. I'm like, I don't think I could keep a straight face through this movie. So commendable to them that they were able to get through this, and they did a really good job of not making it like seem awkward. So
yeah,
I thought their chemistry was really good. I thought they were both very good actors. I do think he's really cute and she's beautiful. And they definitely had a really good dynamic. I thought all the actors were really good, honestly. I think it was pretty good, well executed.
Yeah, I thought it was as well. And like, I don't know if it was because the way he was, because like sometimes he made it like, I don't know if he's being cute like this on purpose. Like sometimes when he would say stuff seriously and then that smile is kind of like, I don't know if I'm supposed to be taking what you're saying as like seriously, but like are cute because
he's definitely giving off like golden retriever vibes. You know what I mean? Like
definitely.
trying to. They're obviously he's supposed to be puppy like. You know.
I mean, maybe that's why he likes the pet play so much.
So you can see what's written on his face very easily. You know what I mean? What he's feeling is written on his face is what I meant to say.
Yes, I get it.
Which I kind of like because it shows like a vulnerability, which you don't always see in masculine characters. So, which I guess is the whole point because he breaks all of those masculine stereotypes.
Because like him liking the stuff is supposed to show like he's not any less of a man. So, and then another point I just want to bring up, like I know they have a contract, like a dominant, submissive contract, but like I was surprised he took her to a restaurant for her birthday and those expensive heels he bought her. I was like, oh, those red heels were sexy. It was a little awkward. She's all stepping on him, but
yeah. I was like, when she said that, I was like, excuse me? Taking it back. Sorry.
What? When she asked if he wanted her to step on him?
I'm like, okay then.
Off topic, but that's like one of the most like annoying things I hate. Like when I go to concerts and like people be screaming. Like when I went to, I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I went to Eric Nam concert, there was a girl next to me that kept screaming that, like she wanted Eric to step on her, and I was like, oh my god, shut up.
Yeah, I've seen him respond to that before. He's like, are you okay? You want me to hurt you?
I don't think he's into that, but
no.
But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that he just bought her an expensive gift like that. I mean, I guess shower your master with the presents. I ain't mad at it. So where is my next point? Okay, yes. And I also wrote that, like, I think this also kind of leads to the play scene in the office, but like I like when Ju gets jealous of Gio teaching Han, which if you guys didn't notice, he was the little intern that got hired as a full-time employee, and like the way he was watching her kind of boss him around, and he was like, that should be me being bossed around like that, which leads them into having that scene in the office. But mostly I brought that up because I would have asked you guys, would you have taken that risk of playing like that in your office where
Absolutely
you work?
Not. No. I immediately, when that was happening, I'm like, where are the cameras? Because there were cameras in my workplace. So I was immediately suspecting that they were going to get caught the second they did that in the office. I'm like, there's no way. Like, somebody's going to see.
I mean, they did, but
yes,
that's
we'll
what
get to that
like,
later.
I predicted that.
It wasn't video, but like the way they got caught was kind of an accident. Not a good accident, because I'm going to ask, boy, why do you have a recorder in the office? Are you what's going on here? Like, is this not illegal?
I thought that was a little weird.
I thought that was very weird. Like, is this not illegal? It worked out at the end, but hey, we'll get to that later.
To answer your question, absolutely not. I would not do that in my workplace because I'd be way too paranoid that somebody would hear something that would be recorded. So
I mean, they almost got caught by the security guard. So even though they weren't having sex in the office, but still,
I wouldn't do that anywhere. Actually, no.
I'd be too paranoid. Like, I think some people like get a thrill of doing it in a place where you could potentially get caught, but I do not. I would be way too anxious.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's confidence or what, but it's not me. Okay. So after the very intense flogging scene, God, it's so weird saying that out loud. When Ju is putting medicine on Ju's back, he starts, I think his ex-girlfriend starts calling him. And he says they don't keep in touch, but she hates him.
Yeah.
And like he basically is like, she has every right to hate me because he was being selfish for telling his secret. I mean, do you guys think he was selfish? Like, what did you think about the whole conversation? Because I kind of agree with when Gio was like, I mean, I didn't write it down. I think she asked the question, like, did she love you or something like that? And she's like, then I don't understand why she got so defensive and didn't take it into consideration if you guys are supposed to be, in love and stuff like that.
I don't think she really understood that whole concept. So I can see why she would be upset because the way it's already portrayed makes it seem like that's something that, you know, perverts and things like that would do. But if she truly liked him, I think she would have taken a second to understand what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like, I understand, like Nafis was just saying, how it's already portrayed. And like, I had to go back when I was rewatching it. Like, I got a better sort of understanding of how she was going, because there's like a scene where she's kind of like questioning him, like, if everything we did was like fake, you know, like when you were having sex with me, did you just not enjoy it because you were thinking of so and that turns you on more? So I understand her perceptive of being slightly betrayed, but at the same time, like you said, she just has such a fear of the way that whole thing is shown in society. She didn't really take into consideration of trying to question and be like, okay, I mean, you're into this, but like, what does this actually mean? What does this mean to you? Like, what are your limits and not your limits? Like, that's where I'm like, okay, well, you probably didn't actually really like him, or you just liked the thought of him because you didn't try to consider his feelings, what he likes, and see if you'd be open to that as well. So
right. Yeah, I think you had mentioned it earlier in the scene. It's like he says that it makes him feel alive, is what he said. Yeah. And she's like, well, why wouldn't she just go along with it if it makes you feel good and it makes you feel alive? I'm on the fence about this. I don't think she handled it properly, because I don't think there's anything wrong with her not wanting to go down that route. You know, we all have our own preferences. So the fact that she didn't want to do it, I don't fault her for that, but at the same time,
that's why I had to watch it a second time, because I'm like, I don't blame you.
Handled it horribly. You know, like, it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not his fault that that's what he is into, and I would have been more flattered that he felt confident enough to confide it in me, even if it wasn't something that I would be into. So, and the fact that she continues to torture him after the fact is like completely unreasonable. So,
yeah, like, you already say you don't like him. Why are you so bothering him? You guys aren't together anymore. That's what I mean. Like, she didn't even try to have a conversation with him. Like how Macy was saying, okay, that's not my thing. Yeah, but they didn't talk it out. She immediately went on like the attack of like accused him of being a pervert, of like asking if he had childhood trauma, or like if he needed to see a psychiatrist, things like that.
I think I would be more upset if someone hid it from me for a long time. Like, I would rather just get it out in the open right away, and that way I can assess how I feel and if I want to continue and give it a shot, you know, or if this is maybe not going to work because we just aren't going to mesh well in that area. So
yeah, because we don't know how long the relationship was either. So I'm not sure if her anger also comes from like they were together and it took him a while, or because to me it seems like he told her pretty early on. It doesn't seem like they were too involved, but then again, that's just perceptive in a like movie hot plot hole, so we'll never actually know. But either way, I don't think the timeline really matters. Like, I feel like her reaction would have been the same either way.
But whatever it was enough to scar him.
Yeah,
for the next person. Yeah.
And especially I think it made her more upset because, like we were saying, he likes to be on the submissive side and not the dominant side. So I don't even know if her like opinion would have changed if he said he'd like to be on the dominant side, because you know, that's showing like the male macho tough guy sexy type thing. So like maybe she would have been into it if he was the dominant.
Yeah, I don't think she would have questioned childhood trauma as much if he had been the stereotypical role. But the fact that he's the opposite makes her question whether he, like, you know, went through something, which is not fair. But
yeah.
So like, because like later on, I'll skip a little since we're still talking about her, like, because she kind of blames him for the breakup when he is preparing the last meal for their last play, which I was so upset when she threw all that food and broke the glass. I was like, now do you know how long it probably took him to make this? You breaking his stuff, you destroying what he just made. I was so sad when all that food hit the floor. The second she walked in when he didn't want her to be there. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, not listening. Just her attitude about that whole scene. I was, like, immediately annoyed. Exactly. Yeah. And because the first thing she says, I think when she got there, like, she broke up with her recent boyfriend. She's basically blaming him for her failed relationships. Like, I understand his side of, like, being scared of trusting someone. And I kind of see her side as well, but not really. Like, I kind of feel like she's being extra dramatic about it.
Like, she's the only victim in this.
Exactly.
They were both hurt. Yeah.
And it's not like he tried to really hold on to her. Like, once she said she was done, he really let it go. So
Which is actually very mature
Yes.
of him to do. Yeah.
Like, I understand her anger, but I feel like she has too much anger for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And she is blaming, like, what she's doing outside of that past relationship onto him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are you blaming her? Why are you blaming him for your current boyfriend problems, which he probably doesn't even know about the new boyfriend or whatever, or ex-boyfriend at this time. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think she's like the whole, like, she's taking it in a selfish way, like, oh, we were happy and you ruined it, and now I can't have a normal relationship because you scarred me. But, like, she's only thinking about herself, and, like, you know, the confidence that it took for him to tell her something like that, and then, like, it's not like he was forcing her to do anything. He just confided in her that that was something that he was interested in, and she just took it and ran with it and is choosing to punish him for, like, the rest of his life because she can't have a normal relationship.
Yeah, because before she left, she was like, you know, the only person, you probably will never find love again because the only person you love is you. And I was like, was really telling you that selfish?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that statement.
And the thing is, though, like, I understand that she's now skeptical of everything, but all he did was tell her. They didn't do anything.
He didn't try to force her to, like, do any of the stuff. He literally was just like, this is what I'm into.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would have been another thing if he tried to force her.
Which is a normal conversation that all partners should have. Like,
Yes.
Yeah, so like you guys were saying, like, I understand where she's coming from, but, like, she's just overstretching it at this point.
You know, like, there's no shame in her not wanting to do it and not liking it. It's just why you didn't have to do it, handle it that way. And continue to handle it that way.
And even if you did handle it that way, yes, that's what I mean. Even though you did handle it that way, that's fine. I'm going to say that's fine, but it's like, it is what it is. But at the same time, stop bothering him. Why do you keep bothering him? That's the main thing. And I'm like, every time I'm like, why are you here? He don't owe you money. You guys don't own a pet together. Go live your life. Go find someone that you are sexual and, like, psychologically compatible with. Just leave him alone. Anyway, I had to get that out because, like, she was doing too much. And, like, the second time I watched it, I was, like, a little bit more understanding than the first time, but I still thought she was doing way too much at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's, like, what really bothers me, like you said, is the after effect. Like, because I don't think I could, you know, I've gone through breakups before, and I don't think I would ever continue to, like, bother somebody, because it's not good for you either. Like, you're not going to be able to get over it if you keep chasing after this person just to, like, get revenge, quote unquote. Like,
yeah, I mean, unless you still have, obviously she still has hurt feelings, but, like, I feel like you wouldn't keep bothering them unless you want them back. Unless there's something tying you guys together like a child, or you want them back. But, like, I can't see a reason for her wanting him back. She just really just wants to torture him. Which, who was that helping? Not her and not him.
Yeah, it's not helping anything.
Anyway, yeah. Guys, if you get an ex, it's this.
Right,
if it's done, just let it be done.
Up. Jeez.
You said, what did you say?
I said, now that my blood pressure's up, like, that made me angry for no reason.
Okay, so let's get into, like I said, I kind of skipped around a little, but I also wanted to talk about the incident at the hotel, because they say that guy she was meeting up with was a fake BDSM. I guess I didn't realize they had hotels designed like that for certain situations. And Ju's confession at what did they go? Where did they go? Auditorium.
I think it's like an outdoor garden, but I can't remember the name of it. It's like something.
I can't remember. Yes.
And a monomary or something like that. But it's like, I think it's like an
arbitrary or something like that. Arbitorium?
Yeah. Arbitorium.
God,
maybe that's the word.
Why am I?
Yeah, but no, it's like an
one
outdoor
of those words.
Botanical garden is what I was thinking. That obviously has, like, cafe and stuff.
Yes, and they had another play scene where, like, she had him cuffed to him at the whole time. That was very awkward when they got caught at the cafe. And you hear the couples in the background, like, why don't you do that with me? Like, we should do that.
I thought it was funny that they were like that. Like, oh, we should try that. Like, they were immediately like, oh, that's disgusting. Like,
most of them were like confused, but then like the couples were playfully like, maybe we should try that. Do you love me enough to be handcuffed to me the whole time? I thought it was funny and progressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But which should we go off first? Her confession or the hotel scene? They're kind of both at the same time, so that's why I have them grouped together.
You can do the confession first.
Okay, so like basically when they're eating, she confesses before her friend Hemi like starts calling her because the guy is trying to like basically force himself on her. But I kind of like how she kind of almost tried to turn the confession into like a command. She was like, "Go out with me," and that's an order. I was like,
Yeah.
Okay. And then we kind of go on to like the suspense of like his answer, because he didn't answer yet because they go and try to save her at the hotel. But I mean, it was kind of sad because once they not really rescued her because she had her own taser and like tied him up, which I'm like, great self-defense. I'm glad she was able to do that. But like she had a point in the car where she was crying and she's like, I can't go to the police with this because they're going to look at me just as weirdly as him, and it's not like he's gonna really get prosecuted because nothing truly happened. And you know how I know for over there, like with some stuff I've like read up on, like if they have to deal with like famous people I follow, but like even just here, like how sexual assault cases are really taken.
It's so
especially
awful.
with the women. So I just wanted to know you guys' thoughts on that. It was sad, but
yeah, you have to have so much proof for it to even go through, and then if they are prosecuted and convicted, the punishment time is so short usually.
Yeah, and sometimes even with the evidence, they're like, they won't do anything.
Like half the time they don't even go to jail. It's just like community service or whatever. So, and it's like on some level, right? On some level, I think that it should be classed as like similar to like either, I don't know, like attempted murder, because it's like you are traumatizing this person for the rest of their life. Like, it's one thing to just like kill somebody and it's over in an instant, but like you're taking that away from them, but like you're basically taking their life away from them too if they are not able to get over it. So I feel like it should be a bigger punishment.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that, but it's just sad. It's like,
and it's so hard to get convicted of it because it's like, oh, well, because unfortunately it does happen where some people are falsely accused, but that's rare. And I think people think it's more common, but it's happened enough to where people are so skeptical about it that like you have to have so much proof for it. Like, people don't just believe you anymore, which is sad because then the people who are really suffering get made out to be a liar, and that makes their situation so much worse.
Especially like in those incidents when they know each other, like whether they are dating or married, and like people don't realize couples can get like be sexual assaulted. So it just makes it harder to prove that case.
Yeah.
Because like consent all the time, even if you're dating or married, like that's a big thing.
That's a big deal. Yeah.
It is. So I felt bad for her. I was happy she was safe. But at the same time, like stuff like that's scary.
Yeah. And obviously, it's probably not even the first time it's happened to her, which is really sad. So.
Well, because she also mentioned how she put out an ad, because that's what I meant. Like, we found out she is part of the community as well. I guess she put out an ad looking for someone because she's like you, and I guess is on the submissive side. And she was saying how like a lot of the response she was getting were like just perverts or like guys just instantly sending dick pics. Which is sexual assault in itself. Like, I didn't ask for this.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens just in regular online like dating. Like, it's like immediately like, so are we doing this or are we not doing this? And then like I can only imagine the added layer of that, like, dominance versus whatever like relationship going on. Like, it's probably really dangerous to like, because people are going to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be like really careful and very specific as to what you're looking for.
And people can still lie. So even if you're really cautious and you think that you're vetting these people enough, they can still be lying to you. So
that guy probably lied to her. So
Oh yeah.
I had a feeling like when when you see certain reactions, like this wasn't going as the way she thought it was going. So yeah, it's bad, guys. Just be careful.
Yeah, I mean, meeting up with anybody online is such a scary thing. It's so unpredictable.
And always have pepper spray with you.
Right. Take some self-defense classes.
Yeah, I have my little claw thing.
Yeah, it's sad though that we have to prepare all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, especially women. So I mean, just anybody, but like women especially.
The constant fear of like, is somebody following me? Is it too dark outside? Does this person have negative intentions? Like, the mental gymnastics that we go through just in daily life is sad.
And you also have to be careful, like, where you park now, because now with, like, advanced technology, you never know if someone, like, bugs your car. You know, I remember hearing the thing about that. What is that Apple thing called? There was a lot of, I think they still sell.
It's like,
what is it called?
AirTags?
AirTags, yeah.
Is it called an AirTag where, like, people were putting that on people's car? And, like, if they have an iPhone, it's able to hack their iPhone and find out, you know, their GPS location.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what that is. Not sure.
I think that's what it's called too. But I just remember reading some horror stories on that.
But you know, like, that's kind of like the same thing with like Bluetooth technology in cars, because you can easily hack a modern day car and control like the speed, the driving, and all of that. So it's like very scary. Yeah.
Or you mean like smart car? Like, I don't think my type of car you can do that, right? Or you mean like mostly smart cars where it's like almost self-driving?
I think any type of car with like modern, I don't know. I feel like if you have like a
Bluetooth
GPS
capability
or some sort of Bluetooth or some sort of way of having like a wireless connection with your car, you can easily hack that. Because the reason why I know this is because my brother has his phone set up to his car. And then there are people in our area that are also connected to his car. So it's like I would hear like all these weird things every time I turn the car on. And I'm like, your car is weird because I'm always hearing something different. Like one time I heard an episode of SpongeBob and I'm like, this is weird. And he's like, oh, it's probably because someone has their Bluetooth on and they're connected to our car. I mean, they might have a Toyota too, but it's weird.
Don't they realize they're not connected to what they try to connect to on the Bluetooth?
They're probably just as confused. Like, why am I not hearing anything?
Yeah, I guess you're right, because Bluetooth, there isn't really a password on it. You just, anything.
There's not.
You can just connect to. So it's not like Wi-Fi where you have to log into it. It's just you can connect to any device, which is kind of scary. I guess that's where like how air like drop stuff works too. Like you can just drop something to somebody's phone. They have to accept that, I think. But
there are some cases where you don't have to. Like you can set up if you set it to where like you can just get airdrops from everybody, or if you have to like it'll pop up that question, do you want to accept this from so and so? So I think if you don't set that manually, it can just drop to you automatically. Yeah,
I've never had an issue with like hearing stuff from my car, but if you go into my car's Bluetooth system, there's a whole list of phones and devices that have been connected before mine from people who previously had used the vehicle. So I've never heard anything, but it's, you know, once it's on there, they can connect to it.
And that's so weird how like there's really no way to like disconnect it unless you get rid of the device.
Yeah,
has to be done from their phone, I believe.
Yeah, like it's weird. Like you can't disconnect it from the car itself. Like erase it.
No.
Or there might be a way we just don't know because I'm not that.
I think you can erase it from the car too, actually.
Maybe.
But I don't think you can do it while it's in motion, like while there's audio being played. I don't know. I have to look into that, actually.
Yes. Yeah. Well, while you think of that, let's get off the Bluetooth in cars and go back to the movie. Our tangents. So where did I leave off? Oh, yeah. So I guess we'll go back to the confession. And basically him at first turning her down and saying he doesn't want to date her. And I guess that's another thing. Like, I didn't realize until watching this movie, I didn't realize those S&M type relationships, they don't have to be dating, because every like type of fiction that I've heard of, not expose myself of that practice, they're usually always dating. So that was another thing that was interesting to me while watching this movie, because they weren't in like a sexual relationship, but it was still kind of, I don't know.
I mean, I think it's obvious that both of them had feelings for each other, but he was too scared to move forward with that.
Yeah.
And she wasn't doing a great job of separating the two, like, oh, this our normal dating life and this practice that we've been doing. So,
I mean,
like,
she kind of already came in invested, so I can see why she struggled a little bit.
She was already doing this because she was interested in him.
Exactly. So I think, like, but you had mentioned, like, the whole it's an order thing. Like, she just assumed that it was going to work and was surprised that it just didn't happen the way that she thought it was going to happen.
Right. So, yeah. Do you guys think if not just like his ex-girlfriend scarring him, but if she wasn't bothering him as much, he might have actually said yes that first time instead of turning her down? Or he probably would have just turned her down in general?
I think he would have turned her down
because
or said
the
yes.
ex being there was a constant reminder of like that conversation they had.
Like, like I'm weird, I'm perverted.
Mm-hmm.
No one would actually want to like me once they find out about this. And she made sure she reminded him of that as we just had that conversation. That was her goal.
Right, yeah, like was
her
the
mission
initial
in
breakup
life
scarring enough for him to not want to date again, or was it the basically stalking and torture afterwards that made him so scared?
Yeah, because like after she did leave and Ju does come over for their final like play scene. I don't remember who said it. I think she did. She's like, this is our last scene. Like, go ahead and do what you want. I was surprised he kissed her. So like, that's another thing. Like, do you think in their final play, if he wasn't so high on the emotions from what his ex was telling him, that he would have kissed her? Because he already turned her down. So, of course, I understand why she got more confused and stopped it right there. She probably didn't say the safe word, but she did stop it. So I think they both had the understanding, like, this isn't what we agreed on.
Right.
I don't know, actually.
He just I felt like he just kind of gave in to his emotions. Like, he was scared, and the reason he said no was because that he was too, like, scared of getting like hurt again. But then I think that was just a lapse in like judgment and control. Like, it was just an act out of emotion. So I don't know if he would have done the same thing if the girl didn't show up. I'm thinking maybe no, because
I think she really played into his mind of saying like no one would like accept him. And then when Ju came over and like remembered, like she did accept him. And even though they're not like dating, like he already knows she has feelings for him. So I do think he was high on emotions. So I personally don't think he would have kissed her if his ex never showed up and went on that whole spiel.
Yeah, I think he would have held it in.
Wouldn't find
still.
Yeah. So, but that already
makes sense.
Snowballed everything. And then, as we mentioned, questioning why this was illegal, the recording gets leaked by Han himself. And I had to watch this a second time, realizing that I guess it was an accident, because you also find out later how many secret people are actually like part of this community, because you realize he's in the same chat that Ju is in. But I think he meant to send the recording to Ju herself, because you see him freak out. He's like, oh shit, what did I do? And then when she like sees the email, because the email said like, hey, someday I just wanted to let you know, like, be careful next time if you're going to do something like this. And then you see he accidentally sends it to everybody. So I do think his intentions was
how that even happens,
trying
because I've sent a group email before and it's not that easy.
Listen, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe because like since they work together, she's already on like I don't know.
Yeah, if it's like a running group chat, but typically
he would have
like
to create a separate email for that though. Yeah,
so, I don't know, but it's the fact that he was like, oh, I meant to kind of send this to you to tell you to be careful, even though why do I have a recording of this in the first place that I'm holding on to?
Yeah, exactly. Like, asked to speak with her and played it in person. Like, why would you risk sending like that something in an email?
Exactly.
Yeah. You could have definitely told her in person. It's better for her to be embarrassed in front of one person compared to a whole department.
Yeah, and practically
because that leads to the disciplinary.
So.
Yeah, the disciplinary action of both of them, and then meeting with, like, I'm assuming their manager and a guy that's a little bit higher up, and all those questions, and basically like teasing them for that recording. I mean, I understand the questions they were asking, especially since one of them did bring up, like, the type of job you guys have, it is very risky for this to come out, because you're basically working for something that has to deal with children and families. So that I understood, and just like, you know, it's not keep it at home. That they had,
I wasn't surprised by the fact that they had a disciplinary like hearing, but I was kind of like, okay, the way that they're like questioning them and handling this is so not professional.
It wasn't even appropriate the way they were holding the disciplinary action. I'm like, this is even more inappropriate than the actual recording.
Yeah.
Just like making fun of both of them and like teasing them, and then
also. I also wonder, it's like, how do you even know that happened at the workplace? Like, it's just a voice recording, so that could have been recorded anywhere, couldn't it have?
I don't know if they said...
Like, is there evidence?
He sent it through his work email. That's probably why.
And I think they said something in the recording that led him to believe they were in the office. Plus, too, if we was recording the whole thing, like, we only saw the beginning part, but remember there's, like, scenes where, like, they set off the scanner and stuff like that, and it's making noise. So...
Well, they show when he, after the fact, like when they pan the camera to like the thing, they show when he hits it off the table and starts the recording. So I don't know when that happened. I don't remember exactly when it started, but they do show it.
And is it like a pen and a recorder, or is it just like I think he pretends to be a pen? It is a carrot, but I didn't know if the carrot turns into a pen and a recorder, or if he pretends it's a pen and just uses it to record everybody.
Right, I don't know. I mean, he's got some own issues going on with the fact that he's recording everybody, but...
exactly.
Yeah, no, I just wasn't sure if it's like, did they even... I guess, like you said, we would have had to hear the whole thing, because in the snippet that they play, I feel like you couldn't even tell that they were where they were. So I guess it's just the fact that it was spread throughout a company email rather than the fact that they were in that location. But they question whether they did more stuff like in that location. So I'm like, well, how do we know that they could have been recorded anywhere, which even more so is that's their personal lives. They can do what they want in their own time, in their own location. So
I think the full recording, there is something that happened to where it was.
I mean, there was evidence
proven that they were in the office.
Yeah, there was.
So that's the only reason why
it was like messy after the fact too. So that could have played into it, but.
And she broke that one guy's back scratcher, which I was very happy she did that.
Right. Yeah, no, that was really satisfying. I also thought it was kind of funny when he got him the new one, the little cat, like the face he made at him. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the, disciplinary thing was good because it ended up making Ju confess because he didn't like the way that they were talking to her and like basically almost pretty much putting the whole blame on Gio for the whole thing. So he was like, I should have wrote it down, but like his whole thing about like basically confessing everything that he likes, like it's not his fault, but she was just helping him out and then like saying he likes her. Yay.
Yeah. I thought that scene was kind of funny because it's like, oh wow, they're like living in their own world. Like this would not happen. Like just full on confessing and she's just like googly eyed at him like, oh, this is so nice. But I do think that, like you said, I don't think it would have happened. Like his desire to like protect her reputation was way stronger than his like fear of not confessing. So I don't think
he said he was like, fire me or suspend me, I don't care, but you're not going to talk to her like that. So I commended that. And I also I hope it's not a mistranslation, but when he was confessing, the last thing he said was like whether you're like as a human being, he said something else, two other things, but he's like, I respect and I like you. And I'm like, I was pretty impressed when he said the respect part. So that actually holds a lot of significance. Like you don't only just like her as a person, but you also respect her. And that goes like a long way, which I was really proud of. And like that he said that.
Yeah.
It's one thing to, because like, I think that just makes a difference of like people's relationships. Like you can like someone, but like it just holds another significance if you also respect them as a person.
Well,
like,
just bringing home like the misunderstanding of this community in general. It is about mutual consent and respect. So, breaking away from those stereotypes that it's an aggressive subunit of people. They're not necessarily like that. Like, it is about control and consent and respect. So, good way to look at it.
So, and then, I mean, good thing they got their revenge too, because I guess through the email, because at first I was like, how does she know it was him? And then I forgot it shows who the sender was. So like she hunts Han down and he was like, I know you have other recordings. So, and I was surprised too of those other recordings. She's like, well, weren't you going to quit anyway? Which I didn't know, but he ends up quitting and then releases 2 other audios of like their team leader apparently having an affair with someone in the office and the other guy.
Way worse than what they were doing.
Right. Way worse. That's why they got suspended. Talking about when's the next time I can see you, and then like his wife and taking the girl he was talking to in the office to a trip in Busan. I was like, oh, this is bad.
It's not gonna end well.
And it didn't, thankfully.
Yeah.
Revenge isn't always the best way, guys, but sometimes
it works.
Sometimes it works. Well, yes, everyone gets their happy ending, and then Kami decides to date the guy that works for her and had like the biggest crush on her for the longest. She's like, I guess I'll give you a try. And then our 2 leads end up together. So they're going to try the whole dominant, submissive relationship and a romantic relationship all at the same time. And then like towards the end when she's giving her like little monologue, and I think that's the whole premise of this movie. I really like how I didn't write the whole thing, but basically I just write how she talks about how no matter what people's interests are, everyone's just really looking for someone to accept them behind their mask. So I thought that was very sweet. So basically everyone's looking for someone to accept them as who they are and not the like persona we put on for other people in society, like whether it's professional persona or like a persona we think people would be friends with and dating and stuff like that. So your real self, guys. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the whole movie in a sense.
Very well done.
Yeah. So I mean,
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
I know. I think they did a really good job of it, and they didn't stigmatize it too much. And like we're saying, they really just showed it as this, like, as long as you're a consenting adult, you're looking for another consenting adult to do this with, like, it's no harm. A lot of them are doing it for like their own self-pleasure, maybe pleasure for others. Like, who are you to judge? Is basically it. So I thought they did a really good job of that. And it was a lot like, I don't know if this is just like the Korean magic of like making things cute when it comes to like dramas like this, but it was pretty cute.
Yeah, I would suppose that you would really need to like interact with somebody that was actually in the community, because this could not be accurate. I'd like to think it was, but you know, whether they're portraying it correctly or not, I don't actually know.
Honestly, I think like just with everything in life, it really just depends on the person in the couple. Like there could be couples out there that do this practice who are really like that. There could be couples out there who are like the 50 Shades of Grey, like the American version. Right. It really just depends on the people that are involved, honestly, because it can be portrayed in many different ways. Yeah. So, but yeah. Anything else we wanted to bring up before we give our final ratings?
I think I'm good.
No. So I guess I'll go.
I said everything I was thinking. More than I was thinking.
More than you thought you were going to say.
The word vomit always happens when we're actually recording, because I have thoughts and opinions on things, but then it's like when I actually start talking, it's like, okay, that's how I feel.
Yeah. But that's good though.
Yeah.
So surprisingly, I really did enjoy this movie. I liked it a lot better. Even watching it more than once, I truly enjoyed it. So I think I'm going to give my rating an 8 out of 10. I really liked it.
I'll give it an 8. Yeah.
Yeah, me too, actually. I think that's a good... you can find plot holes and faults in anything.
In anything.
So, like, is it the perfect movie? No. But it was surprising. It put me out of my typical, like, I wouldn't say comfort zone because I wasn't uncomfortable by it, but it put me out of like what I would typically, the content I would typically watch.
I don't know, that flogging scene when he was in front of the mirror and she was hitting him in the back, that did get a little spicy, I'm not gonna lie.
But I wasn't uncomfortable. So like, I don't know, it just, you know, it's good to try new things and it's good to try new media because you don't know what you don't like unless you watch it. So good experience overall. And like I said, I thought their chemistry was really good.
Yeah, it was.
The acting overall was really good. Production level was good. A couple of plot holes, but nothing that would have interrupted the flow of the movie. So
yeah, I feel like if you want to get the actual deeper plot, you should read the webtoon. Like I said, it's being released now. Not all 147 episodes are out now, but they're releasing them like weekly. But they're releasing 3 episodes each week. But like I mentioned, like at the beginning of this, you can either buy coins to read ahead, or you can just be like me and just wait for the daily passes. So like tonight, I'll be able to open up episode 7 for free and read that, and then just wait. So whatever you guys want to do, but I do highly recommend the webtoon because plus, like I said, it goes deeper. We meet a couple characters that like is not shown in the movie. Like Ji-Hoo does have friends. Like he does have a friend who I guess works in a bar and he's helping him a little bit. He actually gives the leash to him to hide before. This is way before he asked Ji-Hoo to be his master and things like that. So far I'm enjoying the webtoon.
Yeah, the only thing I was kind of surprised about, which it's a 2-hour movie, so like you have to get things going, I suppose, but how quickly he asked her to do this, because like, okay, we've known each other for how long? Like, I guess time could have passed, but from how it's portrayed in the movie, it's like they've spoken like 3 times,
Right?
So that was a little quick, but at the same time, it's really like you got to get started. So
they don't even really speak in the office. Every time they showed him in the office.
Yeah. So
I did like at the beginning too, where like he gives their coffee and he writes a sticky note, "My mistress," on there. I was like, is this not exposing y'all's relationship? Right? What if someone just walked by and read that? They're like, what?
Yeah, they are a little bit obvious, I think, but that's the,
that's exactly
movie magic. We're thinking too much into it, like how it would happen in real life.
The romantic comic side of movies. So, but thanks for giving us the chance, guys, and thanks for watching it. I truly enjoyed our discussion on this.
Same.
It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, or awkward.
Yeah, I was expecting the movie to be way awkward, and us talking about it to be awkward.
I was going to say, I was expecting our discussion to be awkward, not the movie, but I did actually expect the movie to be awkward. So that's why I said, like, I'm surprised how they portrayed it, but I'm kind of glad the way they did. Like, they did a really good job of not making it awkward. Yeah,
I felt kind of like, I'm like, oh, this is just a normal movie with, like, things thrown in. But, so I enjoyed it. I'm glad we were able to get our thoughts across without it being weird, because it should be something normal that people can talk about. So
exactly, I agree with that. And just like the movie says, we should all be able to find someone who will accept us without our mask. Someone do the ending on there, because that was beautiful and don't want to ruin it. I already ruined it. Someone end it.
Oh no.
The awkward face.
I mean, with the power of editing, it doesn't need to be awkward.
That's true.
That's true.
I could cut that out, or I can keep that in because it's funny. Who knows? I'll decide when I'm editing it. I have all the power.
Right.
No, someone though, seriously end this, because we're just staring at each other at this point.
Oh my gosh, okay, I guess I'll end it.
Okay, I'm like, are we staring at each other, be like, who's going to end this? Or...
Alright, okay, well, thank you so much for watching this episode of I Was Thinking.
Listening.
If you want to check listening.
You can actually see us, guys.
Oh, yeah. You messed me up. I know. They know what I mean. They're smart individuals. But anyway, so thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of I Was Thinking. Feel free to listen to us. I almost said watch again. Listen to us on any platforms. If you have any questions or things you want us to talk about, please email us at iwasthinkingpod@gmail.com. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter. We'll be posting some new stuff soon. So thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.